Hello, my name is Ted, and lately I've been trying to figure out ways that I can get AI to help me in Bible study. To go beyond, I got years and years of teaching Bible. I've been memorizing tons of it. I've been reading it over and over again, and I've been reading about it. I've been reading other books about it, the culture, the whole works. And what I want is something that's going to be far beyond anything I've done. Come on, this is AI. This is the world of AI. I think it can provide me something that's going to be different. So I found this prompt, and this prompt gave me something interesting that I found very fun, fascinating, but also very informative. Well, semi informative, a little bit informative. First of all, here's the prompt. The prompt says, this is what I typed in. I said, create a mystery game for me to discover one biblical person. Describe what I can do. I should discover new clues from each biblical person I talk to. I have to collect all the clues, words, and symbols to be able to understand the story. Tell me about the first area and then ask me what action to take. So it's taking all my prompt here and it's designing an entire game for me. And it's going to be a different game every time I ask that same question, which is interesting. It will also give me a different prophet or a different person in the Bible that I have to figure out. And this particular game, it's about a lost prophet. And it's called The Mystery of the Lost Prophet. It tells me the situation. I'm in a dimly lit ancient library, shelves groan under the weight of dusty tomes, and the air is thick with the scent of old parchment, a strange, ethereal, I don't know how to pronounce that word. I'm going to say ethereal glow because it's going to come up again. But this glow emanates from a peculiar symbol etched into the floor. My mission is to uncover the identity of the lost biblical prophet. How to play: explore the library, examine the bookshelves, the symbol on the floor, any other objects that I can find. Interact with characters. As I explore, I will encounter different biblical figures. Each character will provide clues and information based on my interactions. I need to collect those clues, gather words, symbols, and fragments of stories. They're going to be very important to my piecing together for the mystery. Finally, I need to solve puzzles. Use my collected clues to solve puzzles and unlock new areas. Now, my first encounter, I will approach a tall, stoic figure standing near a large, ornate window, and he's going to introduce himself as Daniel. And being introduced to Daniel, my large language model asks, what will I do? First of all, I need to explain real quickly what is a large language model. Large language models, or LLMs, as you will see everywhere in literature, LLMs are basically your ChatGPT, your Gemini.google.com, Perplexity.com, Claude.ai. All these things are just different companies putting out exactly what you're seeing in, well, very close to what you're seeing in ChatGPT. The difference is they all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses. And I like Perplexity for research, it for different reasons, which I'm not going to get into now, maybe another time. But I like ChatGPT for certain things. I like, Claude.ai for other things. So it's each one of these has its strengths, and each one of them has its weaknesses. LLMs, okay? So this particular LLM that I'm going to is the Google's LLM, which is Gemini.google.com. All right, now let me get into it. Now, I've just been asked what I want to do. And first of all, I will ask Daniel, this is me, I will ask him what he knows about the lost prophet. And while I'm talking to him, I'm going to observe things. I'm going to be looking around and surveying my surroundings. Daniel nods thoughtfully, his eyes scanning the room. The lost prophet, a mystery shrouded in time, he begins. I have heard whispers of a figure who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic messages and a trail of unanswered questions. Now, as I talk to Daniel, I notice that there's a peculiar pattern of symbols carved into the wall behind him. It seems to depict a celestial map with planets and constellations aligned with an unusual configuration. Now the clues here are already pointing to the person who I'm looking for. The other thing that I want to point out is it's seeming to avoid something else, because I was not only interested in talking to Daniel, I wanted to see what that figure was on the floor. So I'm going to return to that, even though this LLM wants me to, it seems to be directing me elsewhere. I noticed those are symbols on the wall. Okay, good. But I also know that there's something I can't just leave behind. So what do I do next? Study the symbol on the floor and compare it to the symbols on the wall. So I examine the symbol on the floor, and it's a simple circle with a star in the center. I compare it to the intricate celestial map on the wall. There seems to be connection, but I can't quite pinpoint it. Daniel notices my focus on the symbols. That circle, he says, it's a symbol of unity and divine protection. It's said to have been used by ancient prophets to connect with the celestial realm. Now, the LLM asks me, do I want to ask Daniel more about the symbol or explore another part of the library? And I say, when you say, I'm talking to Daniel, when you say a celestial realm, do you mean the physical heavens such as stars and moon and sun, or are you talking about where the angels dwell? Daniel's eyes light up with knowing gleam. Both and more, he replies. You see, this is kind of the ancient worldview. The celestial realm is a vast expanse, a cosmic tapestry woven with the threads of divine power. It's where the stars and planets dance. But it's also a spiritual realm, a place of angels, angelic beings, celestial messengers. He pauses. His gaze fixes at a distant point. The lost prophet, I believe, had a unique connection to this realm. Perhaps the symbol on the floor holds the key to unlocking that connection. And I ask, well, what does the star of the circle represent? Is it only the heavens? Daniel considers the question for a moment. The star, he says, It's a symbol of guidance and divine inspiration. It represents more than just the physical heavens. It's a beacon, a celestial signpost pointing towards a higher truth. He pauses, his voice taking on a more solemn tone. Some believe that the star in the circle represents the lost prophet's ultimate destination, a celestial realm beyond our comprehension. Right away, I say, it's got to be Enoch. Is it the prophet Enoch? Daniel's eyes open widely. Enoch, no, that's an interesting possibility. The book of Genesis tells of Enoch being taken by God, ascending to the heavens without experiencing death. His story is shrouded in mystery, but there are parallels to the lost prophet's disappearance. He pauses, considering my theory. The symbol on the floor with its celestial imagery could be a clue pointing towards Enoch. Perhaps he was the one who left these behind with these cryptic messages, seeking to guide future generations towards a deeper understanding of the divine. Do you want to investigate this further? The possibility of the lost prophet being Enoch, or do you want to explore another part of the library? Well, I don't want my search to end, even if it is Enoch, so I say another area. Daniel nods. Perhaps you'll find more clues in the ancient scrolls section. He points towards a set of towering shelves at the far end of the library. Be cautious, though. Some of those scrolls are said to contain powerful knowledge that can be dangerous in the wrong hands. Well, as I approach the ancient scrolls section, I notice there's a faint humming sound coming from behind the heavy oak door. What do? I say basically turn the door and open it cautiously. While I approach the heavy oak door and turn the ornate handle, it creaks open, revealing a small, dimly lit chamber. A single ray of light filters through the high window, illuminating a small table upon which rests a peculiar glowing orb. What do I do? Well, I don't know what an orb is. That word is new to me. So I say, what's an orb? This LLM does not understand my question well, so it continues. As I approach the glowing orb, I notice that it pulsates with ethereal light. Its surface shimmers with intricate patterns, and a faint hum emanates from its center. What do I do? Study the patterns. Well, I focus my attention on the intricate patterns shimmering the surface of the orb. They seem to be a combination of celestial symbols and ancient script. As I study them more closely, I notice that the patterns seem to be shifting and changing, almost as if they're alive. A sense of unease washes over me as I realize the orb is radiating a powerful energy. It feels as if I'm being drawn into its depths, as if it's trying to communicate with me. What do I do? To see if it understands, I ask it to reveal its truths. As I speak, the orb pulsates more intensely. The patterns on the surface shift and swirl, and a deep, resonant voice echoes from within. I am the keeper of secrets, the guardian of the ancient knowledge, the voice says. I hold the truth of the universe within my grasp. The orb continues to speak. It's a voice growing louder and more insistent. You have come seeking for answers, seeking the truth about the lost prophet. I can grant you that knowledge, but only if you are willing to pay the price. A shiver runs down my spine as I realize the implications of the orb's words. The price could be anything, from my sanity to my very soul. What do I do? I ask, what is the price? The voice grows even more ominous. The price is your deepest fear, your greatest weakness. You must confront it, face it head on, and conquer it. Only then will I reveal the truth. A cold sweat breaks out on my brow as I realize the enormity of the challenge. My deepest fear is something I've been trying to avoid my entire life. It's a dark secret buried deep within my soul. Am I willing to face my fear and accept the orb's challenge? I will face the challenge because I am falsely convinced I fear nothing. The orb pulsates with a renewed intensity. Very well, it says. Prepare yourself. Your fear will be revealed. As I stand before the orb, a wave of dizziness washed over me. My vision blurs, and I feel as if I'm falling into a bottomless abyss. When my vision clears, I find myself standing in a desolate, barren wasteland. The sky is dull, gray expanse, and the wind howls across an empty landscape. A sense of dread fills my heart as I realize that this is the manifestation of my deepest fear. What do I do? Seeing my deepest fear, I ask the orb to reveal its secrets. The orb pulsates with renewed energy and intensity. Very well. Prepare yourself. Your fear will be revealed. As I stand before the orb, a wave of dizziness washes over me. My vision blurs, and I feel like I'm falling into a bottomless pit. When my vision clears, I find myself standing in a desolate, barren wasteland. The sky is dull, gray expanse, and the wind howls across the empty landscape. A sense of dread fills my heart as I realize that this is the manifestation of my deepest fear. What do I do? I realize I'm caught in a loop that I can't get out of unless I do something else. So I move forward. But as I move forward, the wasteland stretches out before me, seemingly endless. The ground is cracked and dry, and there's not a single sign of life. A cold wind whips in my face, and it carries with it its sense of desolation and despair. I continue to walk, my footsteps echoing the empty landscape. The fear that I've been trying to suppress is now tangible presence, a heavy weight on my shoulders. What do I do? I cry for help. My cry echoes through the desolate wasteland, carrying with it a raw vulnerability. As I stand there, tears streaming down my face, I realize that my fear is not something to be ashamed of, but rather a part of who I am. Suddenly, a light appears in the distance. It grows brighter and brighter until it fills the entire sky. A figure emerges from the light, a radiant being of pure energy. You have faced your fear, the being says. Its voice is filled with compassion. You have shown courage and strength. Now I will reveal the truth. As the being speaks, the wasteland around me begins to dissolve. The barren landscape fades away, replaced by a vision of celestial realm. A figure stands there, bathed in divine light. This is Enoch, the being says, the lost prophet, ascended to the heavens. He has left behind these cryptic messages as a guide for future generations. The symbol on the floor, the orb, they were all part of a sacred ritual designed to connect with the divine. The vision fades, and I find myself back in the library. The orb is no longer glowing. Its power is spent. Daniel approaches me, and his eyes are filled with a mixture of awe and respect. You have accomplished something extraordinary, he says. You have uncovered the truth about the lost prophet. Your journey has now been a testament to your courage and your faith. Now, that was the end of the story. So I asked it, can you summarize so I can talk about this in a YouTube video? I wanted to summarize because this seemed like pretty long, but the more I'm thinking about it, I can put pictures in here and make it more interesting. But it did a nice summary. In this interactive mystery game, your journey through the ancient library to uncover the identity of the lost biblical prophet, you encountered various biblical figures. Well, it didn't one biblical figure, two, I suppose, Enoch and Daniel. Collect clues and solve puzzles. This is probably designed, there's probably puzzles and more stuff. Well, there's just different things I'm sure it had in mind, but it had to wrap it up. It doesn't want to be too long. The game culminates with a confrontation with my deepest fear and the revelation of the lost prophet's identity. Enoch, the prophet who ascended to the heavens. The game explores themes of faith, courage, and the power of divine guidance. And there you have it. I just really enjoyed this game. And like I said, I'll leave the prompt below so you can just throw it in ChatGPT or whatever else you use and come up with its own game, its own challenge that you can solve, testing your knowledge. And this is Ted. Y'all have a good day. I think I've been here before.